elocution lessons. Mrs. Muriel B.B. Smith. And we realized that some kids in junior high were taking those lessons. And that sounded like fun to us. So we said, let's ask our moms. And I asked my mother, and she didn't say no. Those lessons were $10 a piece, and that was expensive in those days. But I think she realized that if I wanted to do that, that would be good for me, because I was so shy and I had had such a kind of a poor beginning to my school life and my social life. Anyway, we took lessons for 3 years from this lady, and then we gave a recital. It says here where we were, in the Grand Rapids Women's Club downtown. Woo! We invited all of our friends and relatives. They all came, and we gave readings, and we did dramas and all that kind of stuff, and it was really a lot of fun and very, very good for us. All right, the next one. And I graduated from Grand Rapids Christian High School. See the signature there, E.R. Post. I'm sure Don Bratt remembers E.R. Post. He was the principal at that time. All right, next one. And this is, guess who it is? Yeah, it's me and my, the love of my life, Frederick Diemer. I'll tell you a story. When we got our marriage license, we went someplace downtown. And the guy said to my husband, he wasn't my husband yet, to Fred, well, you got to decide how you're going to spell your name. Because he saw that there was some discrepancy. You know, sometimes it was Frederick, like this, and sometimes it was Frederick. So Fred turns to me, and he says, what do you think? And I said, oh, I like Frederick. And so I named him. His name was Frederick, yes. We were in love, and we were married June 3, 1954. Next one. After my husband graduated Calvin Seminary, he accepted a call to Knollwood Christian Reformed Church in Kalamazoo, Michigan. That was our first pastorate. And it was really something for me. I didn't feel in any way ready to be a pastor's wife, I'll tell you that. But anyway, I was, you know. Next. The second charge was in Arcadia, California. The first charge, we were there for about 5 years. And then he accepted a call to Arcadia, California, which was way at the other end of the universe, you know, way far away from my mother. I mean, you know, Kalamazoo, Michigan was a little bit closer to my mother, but this was far away. And that's where our sixth child, Dan. Where's Dan? Yeah, that's where he was born. And this is the church right here, where Fred and I served. All right, next one. This picture was taken just before we went to San Jose, Costa Rica. You can see we have the 6 children. I'm seated, and then Fred is next to me. Everett is standing in the back, and then Jack is sitting to the left. And then the little one way to the left is Mary. And then Janice is next, the little girl with the white dress on. And then Paul is seated in that chair. That's just before we went to Costa Rica. And you know, I had wisely said to Fred, you know, I'll go any place with you, honey. just don't ask me to learn another language, because I can't do that. They spoke Dutch in my household all the time. I didn't understand what they were saying. Just a few words like Durganiet and but I won't tell you the other words. But anyway, but he wasn't listening. He wasn't listening. And he really thought that the Lord was asking us to go on the mission field. And that meant that we had to learn Spanish. And to learn Spanish, we had to go to Costa Rica, where there was a language institute, and take all of our children along with us. Oh, yeah, on an airplane. Next one. Here's the article in the paper, Diemer takes Spanish post. And we lived there in a red house on the corner. You see that? And this is my mother-in-law next to me. She came to visit us for a month. And this is our family on the bottom here. Everett to the left, and Jack to the right, and then Janice in the middle, Paul, the tall one in the back, Mary to the left, and then Daniel to the front there. Next one. You see, they wanted somebody to be a minister, a pastor in the Good Samaritan Church, because the Cuban refugees were coming over. Castro was kicking them out, 2 flights every day, 5 days a week. I've got a picture someplace, I couldn't find it, but we would sometimes see these flights come in from Cuba and watch the people come off the plane. Well, before they were allowed to come to the United States, everything was taken away from them, except a little bundle that they took on the plane. And I remember, I've got a picture of one man coming down the flight of stairs from the plane, and he knelt down and he kissed the ground. You never forget something like that. So grateful was he that he was in a free country. And so our Christian Reformed denomination helped those Cuban refugees that were coming over at this Good Samaritan Church. And they were relocated all over the United States, especially in churches in California, in Michigan, out east, all over. And those churches would promise to provide for these refugees. But let me tell you, many of them, it wasn't long, and they came back because they just wanted to live near to their homeland. And so before you know it, we had a lot of those that were sent away came back to live in Miami. Okay, next one. Now here, that's me. No one else to play the piano or organ, So here I am. And so I would come during the week, and I chose the numbers and practice them because there's nobody else to play that organ. Well, it was in the back of the church. This is in Miami. My husband was way in the front, preaching, and everybody else in between. And then my children, my naughty children, would be on a bench nearby, where I could watch them. And pretty soon I would see that, one of them, I won't tell you which one. And so I'd go alongside and I'd say, so he'd come and sit next to me on that organ bench so I could watch him. And pretty soon, what am I going to tell you? Everybody in the whole church heard, he was playing one of those kettles down there. Naughty boy. some of the best times in our lives were going to Michigan. We had a month's vacation, and we spent it usually, at one of the lakes where our families were, and just had a wonderful time. After a while, my husband took a position as STS coordinator. Anybody here remember STS? Summer training session? Yeah, summer training session. I think you had a daughter that went down that, didn't you? Yes, you did. And professor at Reformed Bible College. He was there for 3 years. And then at that time we were able to buy a little house on Plymouth Street. And this is the house right here and our children. Okay. And then, yes, God called Fred and me to serve in Choluteca, Honduras, as missionaries. We were a team and we worked well together. I could say that at this point because I had already had to do some things that I didn't think I could ever do. And I was trusting the Lord more. There were over 10 churches there for which we were responsible. And so Fred started and taught theology to train pastors. While he was training those pastors, I would teach the women. I'll tell you what happened. He was training the pastors, okay, in a church there. And then I would go around to they were sort of huts, this is in Honduras. This is poor people living here. So I'd go in and say, hello, The lady was busy washing, but she stopped washing right away. And she, oh, Senora Diemer, come on, sit down. I'll make us some coffee. So she made us some coffee, And I'd go to another place and have some more coffee there, and coffee in every place. Meanwhile, my husband was over there with the pastors, and I saw all these children, and the women, and I thought, something has to be done here. And so I gathered. I talked to them all, and I said, next time, we're not going to just sit here around here talking and having coffee. We're going to go over there in the church. We're going to learn some things. And so that's what I did next time. Went around, we all gathered. Wow, that church was filled with people, let me tell you. Coming out of you have to get an idea of what a rural church is like. It doesn't have glass windows. It has shutters like that open, And the whole thing isn't painted. It's all raw wood with benches, the whole thing. These were poor people. Anyway, I had this Oscar. And because I had all these women and these children, I decided I was going to teach them something while they were there. But let me tell you something else. Before you know it, the men were all finished with their whatever they were doing, and they were there too, learning all about it. What's in here, folks? My grandchildren know, don't you? All right, this is Oscar, see? Now, I'm doing something now that I never did there in front of people. I always did this in an outhouse or, someplace hiding because you can't do this in front of people. Somebody from my church gave this to me one time when we were on home service. It was a young man. His name was, I don't know. And when I got to Honduras, I threw it up on the shelf in my closet. And then one time, Fred was not home, and the maid, you know, we always have a maid there. Oh, yeah. And she wasn't there either. I took that Oscar down, and I looked in the mirror. And I realized that that little monkey could talk to me. He could whisper. And I